Hello, everybody. The lighting is odd. You can hear cicadas, so hopefully I get my message across. This is pretty much the end of summer, although it's only August 12th. Missouri University is about to start its fall semester. Students are going to come in, register for classes, and according to the rhythms of this town and the way things are, this is the end of summer. And Missouri being what it is, we're going to have a hell of a lot of hot, sunny, even glary days, and hot and humid days, and hot and dry days for some time to come, right? And then when winter comes, it will really come, all right? But last night, I had a pretty good day. Yesterday, I got some running in, and I did some back and biceps. And then I had a meeting with some of my Masonic brothers, and we were planning out what we were going to do. I'm a newly appointed officer of Fayette Howard Lodge in Fayette, Missouri, and my friend Christian McCullum is our new worshipful master. Worshipful means respectable. It doesn't mean we worship him. That's just something I want to say. People get really confused because we use very archaic titles, some of which go back to the Middle Ages. And I know I'm dawdling a bit, but it is the end of summer. I'm kind of soaking it all in, soaking in the mood. And then that night I was home relaxing. I'm like, you know what? It'd be really cool if somebody would call me right now and we would do something. And someone called me. And it's this dude, Al, I met. He's older than me. He's in his 60s. And he's retired, but still a very fit and active guy. And he's resuming his Taekwondo training. I met him at the Show Me Games here in Missouri, which is the statewide games. And I went to the martial art event. I met this person because we started talking about martial arts, and then he said, hey, this thing's going to wrap up soon, and then they're going to have judo, and I threw my bike in the back of his truck, and we went to see judo, and we caught the first half of judo, but all the matches kind of looked the same, to be honest with you, right? And so he gave me a call last night. He's like, hey, this is Al from the Show Me State Games. Do you want to see a black belt testing? I'm like, sure, why not? So I went. And this is what I saw, and it was kind of disappointing. Everybody was very nice. There was nothing bad about these people. It was a really cool environment, and I kind of stuck out a little bit. I mean, it was almost completely all white people, and one black guy I saw, and his family, and one wife was Asian, and so her daughter was biracial. And then there was me, like the only darker guy. But I'm definitely, it's weird, sometimes people call me a brown dude, but I've never been brown. Even when I hung out on the East Coast with people that call themselves brown, they're like, well, you're not quite brown, you're something else. And I always find that funny. So I watched this event, and they were doing ITF Taekwondo, and there were 4 people testing for black belt. 2 young people that appeared to be, one girl appeared to be in her 20s, and one young man who could have been in his 20s or teens, and they were, fairly fit and athletic. There was an older man and woman who, again, for their age group, looked really fit, kept themselves well, and none of them, during any of their forms, threw kicks above the waist. I just didn't see it. Then they did punching and kicking combinations, and their kick combinations, nothing above the waist, including jump kicks. And then they did their form, no kicks above the waist. And it looked like they did the sine wave, but there was no snap termination at the end of any technique, it appeared to me. And then they did self-defense. Their self-defense consisted of a couple of one-steps, literally 2 or 3. And then I saw the younger ones throw face kicks, and the girl in particular, really nice high kicks. And then they had self-defense, and looked like very basic jiu-jitsu. Like someone grabs you here, you do a wrist lock, take him down. Someone grabs you from behind, turn around, grab, take him down. Release your grip, throw a side kick. And even the older folks were able to throw some side kicks that were above the waist. And then they did breaking, and they used rebreakable boards. And the breaking, I saw the most termination and snap that I did the whole night. And during their verbal test part, they did some sparring, and again, the kids especially, they were throwing some high kicks, some hook kicks. I mean, this is ITF Taekwondo we're talking about. We're talking about the original Taekwondo. And we're talking about the style and the people that kind of invented this whole idea that you should throw your kicks as high as possible all the time. You should kick each other in the face and test during sparring. You should throw high kicks and forms. You should throw hook kicks and jump turning kicks and things like that. And it was kind of telling, because there was one point where they were they were being tested on step through spinning back kick and step through jump spinning hook kick, and everybody was doing the kicks at waist level or lower. And then one of the black belt young lady who was kind of emceeing demonstrated a kick, and she demonstrated a high kick. It looked like Taekwondo, but her landing, I assume she was a first or second degree black belt, was kind of wobbly. I mean, we all have moments, but she demonstrated it twice, and both landings were fairly wobbly. And then the Grandmaster, he had completely white hair. He was a white man, and a ninth degree black belt. And he, during the verbal exam, he said, some of you really have the talent. I saw during the one steps and the semi-free sparring that you were throwing high kicks, and you could really put that foot in that face. He goes, if you have the talent, why don't you, you should be able to throw these kicks high. I should see high kicks, not just in one steps, but in, your sparring, your forms, your combinations, your jump kicks. And I thought to myself, and everybody passed. I thought to myself, now they're getting that speech? I'm not saying that mid-level and low kicks aren't where it's at when it comes to self-defense, career longevity, power, all that stuff. I'm not saying that, okay? Do not go there. Do not pass. Go. Stop right there. I'm saying it's ITF Taekwondo. I'm saying it's Taekwondo. I'm saying if you're a young person in your 20s or teens and you're capable of kicking high, you're reasonably athletic, your body and mind are reasonably functional. If I was your Sabum Nim, you would not get a black belt from me. I don't care how many years you've been training. All right? Only because that's the style. It's as if I said, I'll create a black belt, black sash standard for Wing Chun, right? It's as if you were testing for your black sash in Wing Chun, and it was your first time being told to do Chi Sao, or it was your first time learning how to, trap Pak Sao to a trap to a back fist or knife hand. Okay, it was like that. It's more like if it's your first time having to execute the continuous punches, on a pad, as if that was when you were told, well, you should all be able to do this. I'm going to give you your black belt anyway. It was really bad. And to be honest with you, the termination of their strikes, the termination, it's not just snap, but it's also not just the acceleration going into the strike, but your ability to stop the strike in a certain point and let the power go into it and then also redirect it. It's not just control, but it's also power and control. Some people have great control, but they're not putting much power into what they're doing, and they're not able to do it at velocity with full intent and full power, full body alignment. And honestly, even if I was grading them in a karate style or a kung fu style that didn't utilize kicks above the waist, I would have rated them at green belt level, and apparently some of them have been training for years. So I don't know what to tell you, and I'm seeing this all across the martial arts. See, the MMA generation starting with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu people. They keep alleging that our traditional arts and even our developments, neoclassical arts, off of traditional arts, are, fake martial arts. And maybe this is why. Maybe we've let things go that badly and we've done this to ourselves. That's no longer an allegation but a truth. And it certainly shouldn't be. I was on Facebook and somebody on some martial art organization, Black Belt Magazine, reposted this, said that we should no longer use the title master in Chinese martial arts, and part of this was prompted by the beating Xu Shidang and other people have given so-called kung fu masters. And I'm like, no, don't get rid of the title, just start living up to it. Learn how to fight. Preferably learn how to fight and fight well with the techniques of your style, the technique, styles, principles, concepts. But even if not, just learn how to fight. Just so that your style isn't an embarrassment. Where I grew up in New Jersey and in surrounding areas, every kung fu school I saw pretty much could fight. They could fight point karate, they could fight continuous like taekwondo, they could fight sanshao, they could fight bare knuckle, they all could fight and fight well. They were some of the better fighting schools in our area because many of them laced up boxing gloves and fought continuously with contact, when the karate and tang sudo schools were pretty much oriented towards point fighting. So rather than get rid of the title of master or sensei or sabum-nim, learn how to fight with your stuff. Otherwise, why do it? Do you really want to be a master of a martial art that's not martial, as in able to fight? Warlike? Mars, the god of war, is what we're named after. In Chinese martial arts, it's called wusu, stopping a spear, stopping aggression. What good is your martial art if you can't stop aggression? Right? Budo, the way of the warrior. Bushido, the way of the warrior. Do you really want to say you've mastered the way of the warrior when you cannot war? Think about it, folks. We need to make the allegations about us untrue. We need to learn how to fight and fight well if we aren't practicing it. Bye.